Kelly,
Yeah.
what's going on with you?
Well, I'm glad to see this, Dave. You look clear-eyed. You look ready to go here today. We were concerned that if I told this,
Just a side.
side note. I've been teasing now for an hour. I've had something happen yesterday. It's absolutely life-altering.
I don't know what it is, but let me tell you this. There's a way out of everything. And I'm fresh off 2 beers and 2 shots. And I can tell you, I'm clear as a bell.
This is when you're best.
Yeah.
This is when you're at your best, when you're fresh in here.
BT, bushy tail.
Dave, you're going to want to sit down for this.
All right. Let me tell you
You
what
got a
happened.
reverse mortgage.
Good guess, but no. And Tom, listen, anything Tom Selleck's for, I'm for.
Look, it's not his first rodeo.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I'm not going to steal your house in the night.
That's right.
Look, now everyone has 3 mortgages.
That's right.
Okay?
Okay. All right. Here's what happened.
Want to take us through the day?
Yeah, let me take you through the day. All right. And I mentioned this earlier. I did something that has really, really caused a rift between me and my wife, and rightfully so. She's 100% right. And I lost just a lot of money, and I made such a terrible decision. I've had to re-examine the type of person that I am.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you
Because
see when you look in?
I think my biggest, I have a lot of flaws, of course. Let's not pretend I don't. And we don't need to name them. I know Biggie's. I see Biggie's mouth opening in there. And
Starting a new list.
We've only got a few hours left.
let's
Yeah.
not.
You've got the guesses list already full.
Let's not do that.
We want to get to your mistake.
Right. But I have a big flaw, and Chris Demm has said this for years. I'm a pleaser. I'm always like, oh, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. And then later I try to wriggle out of it or something like that. And I especially, I can be taken in by people that have a sob story or whatever. And anyway, I'm just not good at that because I try to please always. I don't stand up for myself oftentimes. So yesterday, here's the day. Got home, sitting down. It's about, I'd say 2:00, something like that. Watching Friends, just sitting there.
Feeling good?
Feeling good, yeah. Regular day.
Yeah.
My wife said, "How was the show?" I was like, I don't know.
Biggie, weak.
All this. There's the doorbell rings, okay? And she's like, somebody's at the door. I said, all right, I'll get it. I almost didn't even answer.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If I could turn back time and not answer that door, I so want to. And I look out the window.
Wait, you're not Mormon, are you?
No.
Yeah, once you get into that, it's hard to get out.
Yeah, once they're in, they ain't leaving.
Okay.
No more Diet Coke.
No, you can have that.
Oh, that's right. No more divorces.
Right.
Oh,
wait,
have that
you
too.
can do that.
No, you can do that too.
I know a guy who's Mormon.
Been divorced.
Seems to like it. He's divorced. Okay, so I look out the window, and there's a guy standing on the front porch, and behind him, and this will be the giveaway right here, is a big truck filled with pine straw. Okay. And so my first thought is, I'm not answering the door. I'm not interested in pine straw. But he rang it.
Are your cars visible?
No.
If someone were to see your home, are there giveaways at someone's home?
Yes, and I thought about that. You can see in the front windows, and the TV's on and
Blaring.
Yeah, and you could see. I'm sure you could see my head on the couch. I mean, he probably knew that I was home, but even still, I shouldn't have even answered the door.
Right.
And that's really what. If I could go back to that one moment. So that was my first chance to get out of this, and I didn't take it. So I opened the door, and he says, "Sir, I am so glad you're home today. I've got such a great opportunity for you. I'm just a hardworking businessman, and for 5 years, I've been doing yard work and laying pine straw, and I just finished a job at your neighbor's house, and I have this leftover truck of pine straw, and I can't help but notice that you look like you need some pine straw and some weeds pulled." Now, a little backstory here. I got a guy that mows the yard, okay, and does the yard work. And I like him very much. We've become friends over the last few years. This summer, he's had one of his guys who helps him quit, and his brother passed away, which he always helped get rid of the weeds and stuff. So lately, and he's overworked. I mean, I know. And he had a health scare. He had an issue with health. Okay, so he hasn't been around as much. And when I look at the yard, I saw a lot of weeds, okay? And I even told my son, we're pulling weeds this weekend.
I remember you saying
Remember
that.
me saying that?
Yeah.
To which
Yeah.
he said, bruh.
Pimps don't pull weeds.
I got a tea time.
Come on now. So we didn't pull the weeds. And they're coming up. I mean, I've pulled a few, but that's hard work. And
Yeah.
I know zero about lawn care. When I've tried to do it myself, and that is also a personal failure, because my dad now, he's probably rolling over in his grave. Like, I taught you how to do the lawn. I just don't know anything about it. And so I've never
I don't care to.
I don't. And I've hired, I tried to do it myself for a few years and it looked awful. I couldn't weed eat and edge properly.
Yeah, I'm
and
with you.
So finally I just hired this guy to do it, and he's done it for a few years and does a very nice job. But this year I see weeds coming up and it didn't look good. It looked ragged to me. So the guy made such a nice sales pitch. I was like, I'm interested. Okay?
Could you describe his age, build, anything on his truck, any name on the truck?
There's the thing. Young guy. Do you remember the movie Office Space when the guy's selling magazines?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He's given this spiel of like, look, I'm just trying to do right by my customers, and I've had this. This is a business that I've had for 5 years, and I'm just a hardworking guy, and I've got 4 or 5 more hardworking guys that are finishing up at your neighbor's house. They're coming over, and we'd love to give you a good discount on this pine straw. And I did need pine straw. Okay, I looked around; it looked ragged, and he goes, and we will pull all these weeds by hand, and I've got some a weed eater that we can get rid of a lot more, and some Roundup, and I'll take care of it.
Heaven sent.
I thought, okay, now. You know my yard guy situation. Now, a few years ago, I was neighbors with a guy who wound up operating on Chris Demm's knee.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago. And
Which left or right?
The good one.
Oh, the right.
Yeah.
The one that bends.
He was my neighbor.
Yeah.
Years and years ago. And at that time, I knew nothing about yard work either. And I saw somebody spreading pine straw at his house one time. And I said to him, we were out in the driveway, and I said, who'd you get to do this? He goes, you know what I do? A lot of times, they're in the neighborhood and they have extra. They just come by and knock on your door, and you can get a decent deal that way. And so that was sort of ringing in my head. And I thought,
he's a trusted source.
He is. And
Very smart man.
I thought, I must go do this. I'm just going to do it. Take a leap of faith and do it. Now, there was nothing written on the side of the truck. He had no card. He had nothing. He said, I'm a hardworking guy. And he got to me with this story. And he goes, I can do this for you for $5.50 a bale. And that's including all the labor. We're going to do your weeds and all that. He's like, $5.50 a bale, period. Mm-hmm. And I said, can you give me a ballpark as to how much this will cost looking at this yard? And he goes, so hard to tell because, we never done your yard before. It's really difficult to tell how much it'll be. He said, we're going to do this area, this area, this area. And I said, well, how many bales do you think you'll use? He goes, could take a couple hundred bales. Okay. A couple of hundred bales is what he said. So I did the math in my head. 200 bales, $1,100. Now, that's pricey, right? Okay, that's a lot of money. 200 bales, $5.50 a bale. I got $1,100 out of this.
You're good with numbers.
Right
You're
there.
good at ciphering, I'll put it that way.
Okay. So, and I had already told my wife, I had gone in and I said, I think I'm going to use these guys. She goes, do not do that. Do not do that. Whatever you do, this is a scam. Don't do it. And I said, no, this guy's got a good story. And
how can it be a scam? I can see the pine straw.
I'm doing this. There's pine straw in the truck. I said, I'm doing this. I said, we've got weeds. The yard looks bad. I want this done. And she goes, no, you're rushing into this. You should not do this. And I said, no, I think I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it. And she goes, I really think it's a bad idea. Now, she'd already told me that. So then he says $5.50 a bale. And he literally said, the quote was, probably could take a couple hundred bales. And that's $1,100. Now, that's a lot of money right there.
Yeah.
Okay, $1,100. But I thought, all right, if he's going to pull every weed and they're going to do every bit of this that they say and make this yard look right, I'm willing to spend the $1,100. Okay? That's a lot. Okay, that's a lot. It's too much. It's too much.
Oh, way too much.
Way too much. I mean, it should be half that, really, right? I mean, it's a big yard.
Yeah.
It's a big yard.
How big is your yard?
It's a big
No
yard.
one's seen the yard.
It's a large yard. It is.
But now I'm picturing Buckingham Palace
Yeah, no kidding.
It's not that big.
when he says a couple hundred bales.
He said could take a couple hundred bales. Okay. So I go back into my wife. She goes, how much is it going to cost? I said, $1,200. I was giving myself $100 leeway. And she goes, $1,200? No way. Absolutely. No, tell them no. And they were pulling into the driveway. I said, nope, we're doing it. I said, max $1,200. We're doing it. She's like, I'm really against this. I'm very against this. You don't need to do it. And for whatever reason, I was like, I'm a man. I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to do this. Okay.
The job needs getting done. Here's a guy who's going to do the job.
On the site now. My former neighbor's words were in my head, like, you can get a good deal doing this with just guys stopping by. So, okay, I'm doing this. Plus, the guy had a good story, all those things. Okay.
Was anyone with him?
Not at first, but then a few minutes later.
I know you said he had guys in the neighborhood.
Okay, another truck shows up, more pine straw, more guys.
All right.
Now you got 5 guys. They're around the yard. They're doing it, blah, blah, blah. They ring the doorbell, halfway done. He goes, I just want to show you what we're doing. And he showed me all this. And he goes, here's how we price it now. It's $5.50 a bale. He goes, there's a string on every one of these bales that holds them together. We lay the strings in the driveway. We'll count the strings at the end, and, we'll tell you the price.
I've seen those strings. Is that how they do it?
That's what he said.
Are these regular size bales?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I looked at those. Yeah,
Like a bale of hay.
Like a bale of hay.
Yeah.
Or cocaine if you're from Florida.
Or cocaine.
Oh my God, I don't even want to finish this. I really don't. And he says, and I said, any ballpark on how much this will cost? He goes, I just can't say. It's a pretty big yard. I just can't say.
How long were they working before when you got the half-time report?
Hour and a half. All right, hour and a half.
Wow.
And they were doing the work. They had the weed eater. They were pulling weeds. It was looking pretty good. It wasn't done, but it was looking pretty good. Okay. All right, so he rings the doorbell a second time. I said, these guys are doing a nice job. I told my wife, so this is worth it. You know, it's fine. And she goes, $1,200 is way too much money. She still was like, it's too much.
It's too late now.
Now it's too late.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's way too late. And it's out, literally the bales are on the ground. They're putting it out. She goes, I still am against this, but, you do what you want. And she was mad. We already had a little iciness going there. But for some reason, I can't say no. That's my big flaw. And the guy had the story. All those things working together. So then he comes out and he goes, okay, we're almost done. And we're going to finish up here and here. And he shows me, we're going to put some here. And then we're going to tally it up for you. I said, okay. And he walks me around and all this. And so a different guy has his phone out. And he's like, let me tally up how much we've got here. And he puts it on the calculator. And he turns the calculator to me. He's like, this is your price. $7,157. $7,157 on that calculator.
Did you carry a decimal?
I thought he'd multiplied by 10. I thought it was $700.
Yeah.
I looked at that. I said, I cannot pay that. I cannot. I said, I cannot pay that. I said, I'm going to walk back. And when he showed me that, I thought, my wife, I'm going to get a divorce.
Did your bowels clench?
Yes. Yeah. I almost diarrheaed my pants right there. I mean, I was crushed when he showed me $7,157.
How did he come to that number?
Okay. He said, 1,200 bales. And I said, what?
1,200 bales?
I said, you used, it's impossible for you to have used 1,200 bales. He goes, there's the strings. Well, the strings looked like the largest ball of twine in the middle of Kansas that you go by to see for a roadside attraction.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, I cannot do this. And he's like, it's done. You have to do this. And I said, I cannot give you $7,000. I said, if I walk back into that house and tell my wife that I'm spending $7,000 on pine straw,
I better leave with you.
Take me. Is there room in the truck?
I'll help you run the next scam.
I was just about to cry.
Did he offer you payment options?
Yes. He said, let me see. Can you pay in cash?
That's no bargain.
Sometimes they knock the price down.
He said, I'll knock the price down if you pay in cash.
We'll do 6.
That's not uncommon.
That's what he said. And so I said, I don't have $7,000 inside the house.
That's a pretty nice house. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was almost ready to cry. The guy looks down at his watch. He goes, the bank doesn't close for another 10 or 15 minutes. It was 4:45.
Oh, perfect.
I said, what? He said, yeah.
The bank.
He said, you can go to the bank. Let me call my boss. So he goes off to the side. And I thought, well, you own this. You said you owned it earlier. And then he came back and he goes, my boss said we can do it for $5,400. And I said, if you pay cash, $5,400. I said, I cannot pay you.
Have you been back inside at any point during this conversation?
No.
Has your wife looked out and you're giving her a confident wave? Just
thumbs up.
Just settling up.
All good here.
Just be a sec. Just be a sec.
Yeah.
No, I had not. She was still in there watching Friends. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so disastrous. Because I knew, even if I kept going down in price, it wasn't getting down to $1,200, and she thought that was too expensive, if you recall.
I see. That's right. That's right.
And now we're at $5,400. So I've already got him down by $1,800.
So you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're 5 times over.
And
Losing.
I said, there is no way. He goes, let me get my boss on the phone. So now we're on speakerphone. And I said, your employee just told me a couple of hundred bales. That's 200 bales. And they were like, oh, well, he says couple. He means, we take a couple to mean, a few hundred bales. And I said, well, you didn't say a few hundred bales. You said a couple of hundred bales. And then they kept doing double talk, like, we do residential, we do commercial. And I said, I don't care what you do. You told me a couple of hundred bales. I said, can you give me a ballpark? You said, no. And then you said, a couple of hundred bales. I said, I did the math in my head. That's $1,100. And I thought that was too much. But I was going to do it for you. I told them the whole story. And all these guys are sitting there saying, oh, well, the miscommunication was you mistook a couple of hundred to just mean 200. And I said, yeah,
that's a couple hundred.
That's a couple of hundred bales. And we hashed it out. Finally, the boss on the phone says, "I'll do it for $4,500," and that's as low as we're going. And you are paying. I said, "My wife's going to kill me." He goes, "Well, we're going to have a huge problem if you don't pay $4,500." And now these guys know where I live. Okay, and they're not. I know. Then I'm like, "Oh, I've been taken. I've just been robbed. I've been scammed." And then one guy says, "You better hurry off to the bank because it's got to be cash. It's got to be cash."
Yeah.
Okay. I make the trip to the bank. I look at my clock in the car.
Did you go to the inside to get your keys?
Yes. That's when I told my wife. I said, I walked in.
I've got to make a trip.
I walked in. I said, "I have made a huge mistake." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "They're charging me $4,500. She hit the roof. She goes, "What?" She goes, we have been robbed. They are robbing us. This is a scam. I said, "He's on the phone to his boss." She goes, "There is no boss. This is a scam. Go pay them $1,000 and tell them to leave." She's like, "Man up." And I said, "They know where we live. They are standing in our yard. Meanwhile, I'm arguing with her, and I'm like, tick tock, tick tock. I got to get there by 5 o'clock. I mean, and it's 4:50. Okay, 4:52. So I said, "Sweetheart, I got to go to the bank." And she's like, "I am not letting you go to the bank." And I said, "I'm going to the bank." I said, "I have to go." Okay. All right. So I get in the
Do you see the guys putting the straw back on the truck?
Well, they said that we're not doing another inch of. They still had around the mailbox to do, and they're like, "We're not going to do in your mailbox."
Screw the mailbox.
Right. I said, "Don't." I said, "Don't put another leaf down. That's it. Not another strand." I raced to the bank. I looked at the clock. 5:03. Okay. I go to the door.
Let me in the bank!
Japanese door.
Susan, hit the alarm, please. Let me in the bank!
Pine straw, bales.
I saw the guy inside, finishing out his drawer. I banged on the...
My day's done. Look at this asshole.
We're closed.
Yes! He said...
9 a.m. tomorrow.
Put up 5 fingers like 5 o'clock.
9 a.m. tomorrow.
I waved him over. I said...
Please, I've been taken.
I'm in the middle of a scam.
Did you feel like you were in a Liam Neeson movie?
Yes! I said, "Please."
I need cash fast.
The
You don't
mob.
understand.
The mob
They know
is
where
at
I
my
live.
house.
They're in my yard.
Tony Soprano's boys are at my house.
Yes, we're yelling through the window. He goes, "I cannot open the door for you." And I said, finally, I said, "Please, sir, I'm 3 minutes late." He goes, "I can't." I said, "How much can I get from the ATM?" He says, "Do you have a Signature Crown account?" I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Don't know. He said, "Max $2,500. This is what he said. I said, okay. I go over there.
Pretty good.
I thought it was gonna be. He goes, "If you have a Crown account, $2,500. If you don't, it's $1,000." I said, okay. So I go to the ATM. I get out $2,500. That's what I have now, cash in my hand, $2,500. I go back home. All right, now they're loaded up. They're ready for their money. I said, "Guys, I have $2,500 in cash. I can write you a check for another $2,000. They said, "Can you Venmo it? Can you?" They did not want a check. They said, "Venmo, Apple Pay, whatever." I don't have any of that. My wife has all that. I was not going in there to make her do that. I said, "No, I have none of that." She said, I went inside. I said, "I need the checkbook." She goes, "I am not letting you write them a check. No way."
Did she physically put herself between you and the checkbook,
Yes.
Kelly?
I said, "Dear, I have got to pay them or they will come back and harm us." I said, "They know where we live." She goes, "You think I'm giving them a check with our information?" I said, "They know our information. They know where we live. All that's on the check is our address." And she was irate. And I said, "I'm going to have to give them $2,500 in cash and write them a check for $2,000. And she goes, "You go out there and you tell them you're giving them $1,000 and nothing more." And so I did that, and they were like, "Oh no, you're not. No, that's not happening."
No, we'll pick all this back up.
We were just standing there, but you can't do that.
It's not an option.
You can't pick it back up. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if I could have gone back and just said no,
At any point during the transaction, did your wife decide to bra up and go out there and get face to face with these guys? She left you in charge.
She did, and
Well, he started it.
it was all me. It was 100% me. She told me time and again.
You're just at this point, you're just an errand boy.
Oh yeah, I'm just giving them money.
You're just running back and forth between 3 different parties.
Yes,
Bank.
Yes.
Con man.
Right.
Wife.
And when I got home from the bank, she goes, there are stories all over the internet about these scams that they do this to you. And she's like, you're being scammed. And I said, I know that, but I'm afraid.
I am afraid.
I am. I'm afraid they will come back and rob us or graffiti the house or
Have
something.
tire irons.
Set the pine straw on fire.
Yeah. I said, they could literally do that stuff if we don't. I said, I have to pay them. That was and she's like, I cannot believe you've gotten us into this. And, you know, she's right.
So to whom can you say to whom you made the check out to?
What
Is it a name?
Yeah, it was just a name.
Mr. Cash.
It was just a very long, difficult to pronounce name. And he had to I had to spell it all the way out. I was shaking. I was like, couldn't even read it.
And then you had to put it in the register.
Oh, yeah.
See date, amount.
Did they finish around the mailbox?
No, they didn't. They were
just-
like, we're not doing another thing. Because they said, we've already given you a $2,500 discount or $2,800. I said, I said, you misrepresented yourself. You said that this would take a couple of hundred bales. I was ready to pay that, even though I thought that was too much. I wanted the weeds gone, and you've charged me now $4,500. And he's like, and you know what he had the nerve to say? He goes, well, next year we'll know better.
That takes balls.
In sales, I think they call that the presumptive close.
Yeah.
Like, we know we'll be back.
Yeah, and I was so defeated walking back into that house. I just everything.
1,200 bales.
Come on,
You couldn't fit that
can't
on a,
even
on a
fit
tractor
it on a
trailer.
truck. Exactly.
that's not even-
exactly. After they left, that's what I thought. I was like, "There's no way that was 1,200 bales." But they had all these strings, and I should have said, "Count them in front of me." I want everyone.
Well, just some quick research I looked up. One bale of pine straw says it covers 40 square feet.
I'm telling you.
I mean, for you to do that, that would be covering Buckingham Palace in pine needles.
And they said, "Oh, well, we put it up real thick so your weeds won't come through." And I was like, "I don't care." And it looks good. I mean, it looks fine.
Yeah.
And I said,
better.
And they were saying, well, we did a real nice crimp job. I said, it looks good. I'm not arguing any of that. You told me a couple of hundred bales. That's $1,100, and that's a lot of money. I cannot believe what they took me for. I mean, and then I was feeling lucky because they started at $7,157. If I had spent $7,000, even now at $4,500.
Yeah, that's a piece of change, man, for pine straw and weeding.
I'm devastated. I mean, and my wife, I don't blame her for being upset. I mean, I am so upset at myself, and I am changing everything about the way I do business.
It's a vacation.
Starting how?
Well, first of all, I will never take anyone soliciting at my house, ever, period,
No.
again. And when anybody offers me anything, I want it in writing. I want what you're going to do up front. I want the price up front. Or I'm never.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. I made so many mistakes, and I feel so bad about it. And I'm punishing myself by not eating at the $12 salad store or chicken and pickles for 4 years. I figure,
That's what you
twice a
spend?
week.
Yeah.
I figure myself $20 a week equals, what is that? 50 weeks a year. It's $1,000 a year. And I'm going to go 4 years without eating at either place to make up for that money. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I would tell you this, too. The minute that check clears out of your account, I'd cancel that account and change it.
Really? You think
Yeah.
that badly?
It's a Crown account, Biggie.
Yeah, those aren't easy to get.
I don't know if you heard.
They'll have the routing and the checking
Yeah.
account number then, too. So I think that's why.
Oh, God.
I mean, the minute that money, I'd even tell the bank, like, I want this to clear and nothing after that.
You might be right. That's why my wife didn't want to give him a check. But they didn't want a check either. They wanted Venmo.
No, but they can. They don't want the check because they have to put the name.
Oh, yeah. I guess
But
that's right.
that's more what it is. But I think now, I'm sure that check's going to get deposited, but I would immediately have to say, I need all my accounts changed.
Of course,
Oh, my
wherever they
God.
cash that check, you'll have a record of them.
Yes, that's right. What a scam.
But I don't
Yeah.
know what good that's going to be.
And they were talking to each other like, you got this account, you got that account. And I was like, oh, my God, I have just been taken by absolute scam artists.
Well, they just don't want their name out there because they know they're scam artists.
They are. That's exactly what they are. And I got taken.
Did you
and
ever consider calling the cops at any point?
My wife said, I should have. I should have called the police and said, I should have called
But the
cops.
problem is, from a business standpoint,
No laws.
There's
been
no
broken.
law.
you didn't sign anything.
No. And
But if you felt threatened,
I wouldn't say.
I mean, the only thing that they said that was semi-threatening was you better head to the bank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
I
guy.
mean, unless he was smacking a pipe up against his hand when
no,
he said
no.
it.
He was always very polite.
Oh, no, these guys know what not to say to not get the cops called on them.
It's awful. My wife said if they ever show up at our house again, call the police immediately. And I will. I mean, it is devastating.
That hurts.
Devastating.